Gosh, Skippy, I wonder what shall not be infringed means.
I use Virtual Shield VPN every single day on my phone and my laptop because it flat out works. I hide my identity, my activity, and my location, and you can try it out for 30 days for free using my link in the description. Before I go over these tweets from Adjutant General Timothy P. Williams from the Virginia National Guard, adjutant simply meaning that he's speaking in some kind of administrative capacity for some senior officer, I just want to go over this problematic portion of the Constitution contained in the Bill of Rights that everybody seems to have a real big problem with for some reason. It's called the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. 27 very simple words that pretty much anybody with half a brain can understand. Yet, for some reason, control freak psychopaths like to twist and mangle 27 very easy to understand words. Why is that? When the government is planning on taking your guns, you can bet, you can take it to the bank that they're planning on doing something to the people that would require them to use those guns against said government, which is the very spirit and intent of the Second Amendment in the first place. So when an officer, law enforcement, military, it doesn't matter, public official, puts their hand on a Bible and raises their hand toward heaven and promises with everything in their being and takes an oath that they will protect and defend the Second Amendment from all enemies, foreign and domestic, I take that to mean they're going to uphold the Second Amendment. They're not going to budge on the Second Amendment. They're not going to compromise on the Second Amendment. They're not going to waffle on the Second Amendment. They're going to be very clear that they are going to stand for the Second Amendment against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the last thing that they would do if they were men and women of their oath, if they honored their oath, they would not become the very domestic enemies that they promised to protect all of us from. So when you got anybody at any time, for any reason, waffling on that oath, I mean, think about it. They got one job, honor your oath. Be serious about your oath. Stand behind your word. Stand for your word. Do what you said you were gonna do. Don't waffle. Don't compromise. Protect my right and my family's right and my countrymen's right to keep and bear arms. And do not think for a second to accommodate anybody who's gonna infringe or hinder or get in the way of that right. Be it heavy or light, it doesn't matter. You took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, political enemies, law enforcement enemies, foreign invaders, anybody who would come against another man's right to keep and bear arms, to pick up whatever tool he wants at whatever time he wants for any reason he wants, as long as he's not harming or threatening to harm anybody else with that tool. So I take the Second Amendment, and I think most people who love freedom take the Second Amendment, all people who love freedom take the Second Amendment very seriously. So what does Timothy P. Williams, Adjutant General Timothy P. Williams from the Virginia National Guard have to say about this? Have to say about the rumor that certain politicians like Ralph Blackface Northam and his ilk are planning against the Second Amendment? What does Timothy P. Williams say? From the Adjutant General of Virginia, we have received multiple questions regarding proposed legislation for the 2020 General Assembly session and the authority of the Governor of Virginia to employ the Virginia National Guard in a law enforcement role. We understand and respect the passion people feel for the U.S. Constitution and Second Amendment rights. We will not speculate about the possible use of the Virginia National Guard. I encourage everyone to be patient while we allow our elected officials to work through the legislative process. And this would be the perfect time to insert, but I'll be damned if anybody makes any law that goes against the Second Amendment that I swore to protect and defend. We have not received any requests from the governor or anyone on his staff about serving in a law enforcement role related to any proposed legislation. I expect our soldiers, airmen, and members of the Virginia Defense Force to be professional and respectful in their discussions about this subject. As private citizens, our personnel are free to express their opinions to their elected officials, but they should not engage in any political activity while in uniformed status. We will provide regular updates when appropriate during the General Assembly session. Please utilize your chain of command to direct any questions or concerns to my office, and we will do our best to address them. Major General Timothy P. Williams, the Adjutant General of Virginia. Sorry, General, not good enough. That's not taking a stand. That's not expressing that you will protect and defend the Constitution, specifically the Second Amendment, from any violator of that Second Amendment. The time for compromise is over. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, and indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. If you disagree with this, leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Real quick before you guys leave, Trish and I are planning to go to the January 20th, 2020 Virginia Gun Lobby Day there in Richmond, Virginia. We've already got our airfare booked, our hotel accommodations, rental car, and all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to support that effort, I'll leave the PayPal link in the description below. I really, really appreciate you guys chipping in. Our goal is to get first blush reactions of what people really feel about it. And from what I'm hearing, there's going to be some Antifa type counter protesters there, and that always makes for some interesting content, so stay tuned. I'll leave that link in the description below.